So let's start with Professor Kim Clark. In 1994, there was the first article I've come across called Make Projects the Schools for Leaders. And since then, I'm an engineer, so I decided to make project management my next career. So therefore, I decided that since 1983, I was the project manager, and then I slowly climbed the ladder. So why do we need to discuss on strategic project management? So there are 5 whys. The first why is because many people misunderstood project management is only at the operations level, but over the years, I have to convince the top management of the 3 companies that I actually discussed. The first one is a Japanese company called Okuma. I worked there for 10 years as the regional general manager for ASEAN countries. So I'm in charge of 10 countries. We are talking about $1 billion in terms of project. The next company I joined after 10 years is Husky, a Canadian company. So all these are turnkey projects. We are talking about $500 million each time because we do turnkey projects. Third one is even more astonishing, awesome, somebody call it, or outrageous, is Cinemas Group. They owe the band $14 billion US, not 14 billion rupiahs. They cannot return. In 1998, because of the Krismon, or we call it economic crisis in Indonesia. But now, if you look at the Cinemas Group, they are the 4th richest company not in the world, in Indonesia. In the world, you're talking about Bill Gates. Okay. So the next why is that Mr. Chan Chun Sing is not here. So when people ask me, who are you? I say, I'm the head of the PMO. They say, Prime Minister Office. I say, no, it's Project Management Office. So therefore, again, soft skills, very difficult to teach. You can only teach soft skills when people run projects. And the third one, why? I think my first presentation at PMI conference was dated back to 2007. This is where I decided to leave the corporate world and come out to become a consultant. Very painful. If you are not prepared, make sure you have to save a lot of money. So for the first 5 years, you greet. Every month you sign check from one bank to the other bank. So it's actually your own blood and flesh. And after 5 years, then they see some results. And I always talk about how to train people to become whole brain manager. It means not only hard skills, but soft skills. And I think in project management nowadays, people emphasize a lot of soft skills, which is difficult to imitate or emulate. The third one is we have to really look at project management from a strategic point of view. If you don't have the support of the number 1 or number 2 in your organization, don't do it. It's called a joke, because what I'm saying like that is if halfway through look at all the Six Sigma projects, suddenly change the CEO, what happened? The next CEO, if he's a finance guy, has said, I think we better stop it, because to me, you're wasting a lot of company resources. But if you have a CEO who was a project manager, then you have a lot of blessings, because he knows that if you don't do it on schedule, on cost, and on scope, then you are also in trouble. Just like Airbus, when they delivered 1.5 years late for the first A380 to Singapore Airlines, Singapore Airlines become very happy because they straight away get $180 million before even they start operation. So these are some of the truth. And the last why is that if you want to actually continuous improvement, so I always use GE as an example. When Jack Welch, I worked for GE also 2 years, and it's a very tough company. For the first 2 years, when Jack Welch took over as the CEO in 1981, he implemented basic training on project management. So over 20 years during his lifespan in GE, that's why GE can implement Six Sigma very successfully, because they have a very, very strong foundation. It's not only some people, all the people has to be trained. So now with that, I go very fast. So what is your take-home value today? If you cannot sleep, you can look at some 3 slides. One is called the Framework for Strategic Project Management. So this is modified from Stanford. So from Stanford, their model is good, but Harvard Business School says that, but where's the balance scorecard? So eventually, I published paper, I claim it's mine. So as academic, this is what you have to do. And next one is called Project Management Office, or Prime Minister Office. That's our friend come from. Prime Minister Office, right? So he's the real one. I'm not the real one. You talk about OSM. Who started this? This is the same two professors from Harvard Business School which talked about balanced scorecard in 1991. But by year 2010, he says that balanced scorecard is good, but somebody has to implement. So they changed it to Office of Strategy, not strategic, Office of Strategy Management. That means you convert strategy into, like what we learned, portfolio of programs and projects. And finally, the concept of Office of Strategy Management. This is how the Cinemas Group survived, because they have to show to the bank that every project is going to be viable and every project is going to return you the money. So now, as you can see, I applied 3 types of thinking process in all my presentation. It's called holistic thinking, not holistic. So my presentation actually talked about first the goal of this presentation, which is really, we have to connect the 3 from strategic to business to operations. And actually projects are money, so it's investment. How can you now satisfy those business objectives? And the third one is that, of course, like what we learned again in the PMBOK, projects must be strategically acceptable, financially sensible, and tactically viable. So that's the reason why all 3 must be connected. Now, this is what has evolved, which I trace over the years when PMI was formed in 1969, and I think PMI is slightly younger than Singapore. So from the ability to implement to the ability to integrate, to innovate, but now look at what happened to Singapore. I think all of us has just more or less get accustomed to the budget, which runs from 2020 to 2030. What will make us stronger is not because it's called Singapore. What is make us stronger is because of this push for human capital-driven strategy. So therefore, project management 4.0 means that this is a very different ball game altogether, even for project managers. So let's look at what happened. So when we first started to learn project management, or when I first started, it's process-driven. 5 process group from 37 processes become 45, 45 become 47, and now is 5th PMBOK, but very soon will be 6th PMBOK. Now, how about the next stage, which is called process and customer-driven? Because people say that, what happened, the project is finished, but customer not happy, because customer says that your project manager got attitude problem, So therefore, we say that first talk to the top management, so integrate the resources so that when we implement, we will have enough resources. So that was 2.0, project management. Now we are in 3.0, and of course, your 6th edition of the PMBOK talk about agile-driven. So this is nothing new. When I was a student in the UK in 1977, I must be very young, we talk about agile management. We talk about IBM software in agile project management, but it's a very, very expensive system. I come from Cranfield, which we talk about computer integrated manufacturing in 1981. It's nothing new, because the IBM center was there. But why it took so long until now, we talk about smart factories? Because technology has changed. Last time, how much was a phone? I still remember in year 19, I was chasing my wife in most likely 83. The Ericsson was the most expensive, $1,000. I go into Singtel, I walk out again, I go into Singtel, I walk out again, I go to ATM machine and check enough money or not, it's $1,000, I went back, I said, never mind, die, I buy because it's Valentine's Day. Otherwise, you may go out with somebody else. But nowadays, the same Ericsson, how much do you think it costs? And it's no longer made in Finland, it's made Sweden rather, or in Japan, it's made in China, right? Equal, of course, Ericsson is gone now. They don't make mobile phone, the conventional phone. You talk about Nokia, it's less than $60, right? So therefore, that's what technology has made it to become affordable. So, but still, it's not good enough. So therefore, this is the slide I always talk about when I present in most of my presentation now, is that we have to not only look at it strategically, but also from business point of view, and connect all the way to operations. So in operations, unfortunately, Singapore has entered into a stage where we've forgotten that we have many PMETs, which are the professionals, the managers, the engineers, and the technicians. We are very good in here, but we are not very good in project management. I trace back to 1999, we were shortage of 1,000 PMPs a year in Singapore. In 1999, I think our friend from PMI will know, right? In year 2004, how many PMPs are there in Singapore? Even now, 2017, but we are very proud because we are more than Indonesian. I went to Indonesia to do a presentation in October. They told me, hey, your Singapore beat us. I said, how can it be? You have 280 million people, no? You only have 6.5. I said, but you emphasize more on project management is unlike us. We do project management in Bahasa, which is not recognized by PMI, by the way. So anyway, we are down here, but if we want to elevate to capability, that means just like the aerospace industry, America has. Other countries don't have. That's called capability. You pay big money, and I'll tell you how to apply those technology, or I give you the technology. Okay? So we are talking about that. So competence is about ourselves. So Singapore is very good in talent retention. We say 4.5 million people not enough. We go to 6.5 because we need the talent people to support the economy. We are now engaging into capacity. That means one person can do 10% job. It's called multitasking. So that's why every time you go home very tired because one person do 3% job. But the future is one person do 10% job because the robot will take care of the rest. Okay. However, we are talking about capability. We must have something, just like Apple computer has software other people don't have. Just like what Microsoft have, other people don't have. What Facebook have, we don't have. What Alibaba have, we also don't have. We're talking about that, no? So now, because of this, this is the slide I say you can take home tonight and start to think about it. Everything we do, including we study, including we look for a new career, we start from strategize. This is the Stanford model. Everything must be strategized. You come with a business strategy. Make sure you have the right process, not the right people, because right people is human resource concept. Project managers say, get the right process, then feed the right people in the right process, and then look for the technology, the tools. Then finance people say, where is the money? If the money is there, so now we will do our case study, break it down into portfolio of programs and projects. And importantly is, can our people execute the project? So I saw also some of my friends in the 28 strategy, I think. I was formerly from there, but it was not called 28 strategy. It was called IPS, Integrated Project Solutions or Systems. And we always emphasize on execution capability. That means a company must be able to do not just simple projects, but heavyweight projects. And it depends on the organization culture and the structure of the company or organization. This is what we learn right in the PMPs. But the business results must be there. We must be able to show by revenue growth. Our marketing people must support us, profitability as well as the cash flow. But this is the balance scorecard of two professors from Harvard Business School says everything must be measurable, otherwise the project is useless. So do our people learn and grow? Do we have Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma to improve internal business processes? How about stakeholder expectations? Just like what the former speaker has mentioned. Not only internal, but external. And how about financial performance? Not only just this year we're good, but every year we're good. So it's called sustainable, which leads us into, we must come up with a coherent strategy. So not any strategy. So later on you realize that coherent strategy, actually every company has 3. If a company has more than 3, they are the super company. Because why? They can do many things other people cannot do. So they are already the winners. So from strategy, convert into projects. Make sure you have the right structure. We all learn, right? 6 types of structure: functional, balance matrix, composite. And then now, is the culture homogeneous or not so homogeneous? It took GE 20 years to become homogeneous. It took them another 10 years, where Jeff Immelt said, we are still not good enough. And you enter partnership with the company. This is where technopreneurship now is the name of the game. So the future is about technopreneurship. This is the Stanford model, again. But this is applied to the first company I worked, a multinational enterprise called Okuma, Japanese company, because all the scholars come from the top 10 universities in USA. They sponsor, because my top boss is from Harvard Business School. You must go to Stanford. If not, you go to Wharton Business School. So what this slide tried to show us is that start from the company strategic level. What's the purpose of the project? Does it fit into the long-range vision? Then what's the goal? That's the business level already. And then now your balance scorecard, what to measure. Then from the goal, convert it into strategy, and the culture structure support the strategy. So now you will cascade down into your portfolio of programs and projects. And then now your operations will tell you whether are you able to achieve only 5 KPIs: cost, quality, flexibility, speed, and dependability. So with that, I applied to Okuma, which I worked for 10 years. And as I said, it's not simple, because to ask them to accept project management office is like ask them to give you 10 times your salary increase. What do you think? First thing, the president of Okuma tell me, Casey, you only have 2 jobs. One is help me to make more money or save more money. Now you ask me to spend money, cannot. Then I asked my boss, what is your job? He said, my job is I must make more money. Okay. Or I must borrow more money. So let's see actually what happened. So we came up with a very simple company's model. I think those with the MBA will know this is called your vision, but we don't call vision, we call it distinct competence. What must we be so good that other people cannot compete with us? This Japanese way. Our current mission, what are we good at? And this is how we grow the company. And this is, again, some tools we will use. The smiling curve was not designed by Okuma. It's actually designed by Stan Shin of Acer Technology, Acer Computer. And he put all those things that make money from products and all those that make money in terms of service. Convert that into the product life cycle. That straight away is related to project management, because the product life cycle must always be longer than the project life cycle. Then we put it into a Boston matrix, and now we analyze our Korean strategy. Are we the best cost producer? If not, are we the product leader? If not, are we giving customer the best service? And this is what we said, put the product inside here. And therefore, Okuma, I think I'm very, I shouldn't say proud, I'm very happy to say that I installed the first unmanned system in NTU, SimTech. I was the one. They called me Dr. CNC those days, because I was the only most qualified salesman in Singapore, a PhD selling machines. So they told me, why? I said, because I'm not a good engineer, so my boss told me better go and sell machines. Okay. But later on I said, I also not good in selling machines, I become project manager better. Because project manager, what happened? You travel with the president. When the president wants to sign an order, he will never bring the marketing guy, because the marketing guy always give empty promises. I hope no marketing people, yeah, otherwise I get hammered afterwards. So they always bring the project manager, because the project manager must clean up all the shit after the president promised all the things. So therefore, you get to sit next to the president. Right, so therefore, again, we put Okuma products here, and then we see how can we grow this curve, or how can we grow this curve. Now, there are only 3 Korean strategy. Who says that? Again, another Harvard professor say, you're very complicated, because, when you're a big company, you engage McKinsey, right? McKinsey come in and tell you, actually, McKinsey make you become simple, not make you become complicated. Complicated, you don't call consultants. So McKinsey will tell us, Mr. Kumar, the only 3 ways. One is your best cost producer. If not, your best performance in your machines. If not, you provide the best solution. Okay, fine. And we say that after we select our coherent strategy, you cannot have all 3. You can go one by one. You have all 3, you become number 1 already. Like Toyota, those days. Now Toyota is being challenged by Volkswagen, by many other companies. Then convert into projects, because project, you can have apple-to-apple comparison. I want to design new model A, B, C. Which one is better? So therefore, the criteria is always the business result. Which one makes the most money? And this is commercial. It's not about whether the boss like you or not. The boss I like the lady. Money is everything. Money is everything. Okay, so now. These are all the MBA staff. So McKinsey was our consultant. They say, okay, you do all these things, come up with your final analysis called the holistic analysis, but you must fit the structure. Should we have the company in Taiwan, cheaper those days, I'm talking about in the 1990s, or should you have it in Malaysia? So, of course, I was hoping they put it in Singapore. They said, no, Singapore very expensive, and going to be even more expensive. In the 1990s already, people start to worry. Culture fit, very good, because Singaporeans very adaptive. Everything can do. We must thank our wife. Our wife makes us very attractive. Capability fit, saying, oh God, because we spend a lot of money to train the people. Structure fit, we are quite flexible also. Leadership fit, we have all this, but only the problem is the money fit, because too expensive. So they said, never mind, we put it in Taiwan. So that's the first factory outside of Japan. Of course, they also have it in America and Europe. And thereafter, it's only one country called Zhongguo, China. So core competence, what we are good at. Growth competence, grow our business. As we are aware, China now consume the highest machine tool in the world because of the products they produce. Also, they produce very cheap computerized machine tools. And distinct competence, of course, nowadays, Okuma work with GE in terms of robotics, in terms of software development, because you cannot be alone. As I said, in future, maybe work with Indian companies like Wipro and Infosys, all this, because they are also very good. So the world is getting smaller and smaller. Now, come to here. So I only talk about the things that Okuma did not do well. So from the conclusion of the analysis, there are 3 things Okuma cannot do. Because as Japanese, they are not very good in culture fit, because why? Japanese are ethnocentric. Ethnocentric means that they think their home country people is the best, but they have to change. You cannot have a Japanese run the company in America. The union will virtually kill the guy, the union in America. We have a lot of union problems. Not that physically kill him. The problem is so much that the Japanese will give up and say, can we have an American now to take over the position? Next one, of course, is, as we said, capability fit. Because if your culture is not strong, what happens? Like SIA. You can buy the SIA girl, no? Another airlines, example, Emirates. But you cannot buy the culture of SIA. The culture of SIA is very rich. So when we talk about culture, it's hard to emanate, and it's unique. That's why it's called the Singapore Airlines culture. Okuma don't have this, but Okuma is very good in producing many machine tools. That's what the Japanese are good at, and they do it in China, because China is even cheaper by two-thirds cheaper. And leadership fit, so this is recently, if you look at the world top 50 CEOs in the Fortune magazine, our friend Tim Cook, you can say, I don't like Tim Cook, but he's still number one, even though Steve Jobs was before the number one, and Microsoft is within top 10 now, although you say that after Steve Ballmer stepped down, maybe people don't like Mr. Satya, but no, people like Satya. Actually, what you think and what the people think is different. So he's within the top 10. Microsoft. So, but Okuma don't have. In Japan, got. So therefore, we cannot say that your CEO is the most advanced CEO, you must base it on facts. So, okay, they know all this, so they have to change. No? Now, this is what we learned from our PMP. First, start from the portfolio metrics. So you have the pearl, you have the oysters, you have the bread and butter in your portfolio for cascading down into programs, and then you have the white elephant. Of course, you have to kill the white elephant. But don't eat it nowadays, it's against the law. And from portfolio to programs, we divide the world into three because of cultural proximity. So Asia, okay, put a factory in China. USA, put a factory in North Carolina. Europe, put a factory in Düsseldorf. And now coming to the project level. So therefore, these are the turnkey projects that we are talking about. So what are the benefits of strategic project management in the eyes of Okuma top management? And therefore, I was able to convince them that when we strategize, we need to look at all three together. And when the Japanese buy, they actually execute. That's the good thing about Japanese, but it took them 9 years to be convinced. So after 10 years, I give up because no more energy. So I better move to Canadian company because the only bad thing about Japanese is that when the company becomes too successful, the next guy must be a Japanese. But when you're not successful, you will have the job. So after 10 years, I asked my boss, when he was half drunk, he's the president, and the son of the president. My direct boss is the son of the president. My indirect boss is the president. I said, will I become a senior director in Japan? You know what they said to me? Let's go for DNA check. If your blood is a Japanese, you get the job. I said, my father is from China, so I won't get the job. And they laugh. So I resign tomorrow. I'm not joking. Because I respect myself. I'm not a Chinaman Chinese. I'm a Singaporean Chinese. So bye-bye, I said to them. So that's why Japan can never be number one, unless they change the way they think. Even if Mr. Okuma here, he will agree with me because he's already 80 years old now. Everything I said, he agreed because he got dimension already. But I asked him, give me more consulting fee. Remember, cannot pay more than $10,000, no, because you agreed last time. I said, that's 10 years ago. No, I resigned many years ago. He said, never mind, let's don't confuse the system. I like Donald Trump because he's a very practical man, not because he's the president of America. I used to have this in Husky, although he was not yet the president, but he is a good businessman. And what he says many years ago is that we realize the situation will not change. Nothing can change. So the answer is for us to change. And that's what leadership is about. Leadership is about change, and change begins with who? With the leader. So if he's no good, they change him. You see the point? Because he said so, right? Many years ago. So therefore, just now, this Husky already, Husky. So Husky, that time, want to change the culture. Because why? The first president is from Austria. And he knew. In Canada, the culture is very mixed. Because when I go into a restaurant, it's all Italians. When I go into another place, it's French people. So they are actually like Singapore, very cosmopolitan. So Dr. Robert Shedd says that he has to change the culture of Husky because Husky was already 30 years old. And he says, okay, let's look at strategic fit, culture, capability, structure, leadership fit. And the way to do it is through organizational development means change. It's a change process. Change by training the people, trained by, I shouldn't use the word, but it's the correct word is called brainwashing the people, that we need a homogeneous culture. We need a single voice. So technology fit is easy. The company keep on advancing and embracing technology. And finally, communication, which I think our lady has said it. Communication is everything. Because communication is touch the heart of the people. This is where, very common, the PMI project organization maturity model, or they call it the OPT, or not OPM. OPM is another thing. So optimized project maturity model, OPM 3. So what Jack Welch also has done in G is that G was in an ad hoc situation in 1981 when he took over as a CEO, so he created a common language for work, which is project management. And next, he introduced ISO 9000, 14000, 18000 to what you call study the process flow as common processes. Then he didn't call a PMO, he called it the war room, which is a single methodology for all the related companies. Example, GE Chemicals, they will have only single process. GE Consumer, another single process. And next, after 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 16 years, GE benchmarked against the Malcolm Baldrige Performance Award, which equivalent to Singapore is the Singapore Quality Award, whether are they world-class or not. So in European, it's the Business Excellence Award. And finally, he entered into Six Sigma before he retires. Please remember, because he has a strong foundation, or rather GE has a very strong foundation in project management, therefore, after 20 years, Six Sigma works. If your company don't have a very strong foundation for project management, homogeneous, we are not talking about one department, we are talking about the whole company, don't try. You will die. And I said this same thing in Okuma, because when the president orders you to do something, Japanese style, right? You have 2 knives. The first one is to fight the war. The second one is that if you don't follow the president order, it's called harakiri, you take and you cut yourself to keep your face. Very important to the Japanese. Okay, so now Husky says that organizational development means that we have to change the way people think. So from junior management, improve their intrapersonal skills, which is your competence. So your middle management, improve your next skill, which is project management. We are in the managerial level, improve, send you for MBAs, etc. This is shown here. So these are the whole, what we call building blocks of competencies. Company that earn big money can develop people. If you talk about profit margin of Husky those days, 35%. For every system we built, $1 million, 350,000. Each marketing manager has to sell minimum $10 million worth of turnkey projects. What car do they give you? Very important, because the company spend a lot of money. They can give you also very good condition. Sales manager drive BM 3 Series, GM Audi A6 or 5 Series. If you are VP, definitely 7 Series. Or if you want, also can Porsche 911. If they pay good money, they always say best of the best will come to work for us. So 50% of Husky people are all PhDs because they want the best, and they pay you best money because their machines are Rolls Royce in the industry. Okay, now so that's why I said, if you work for this type of company, they always talk about project management because they know project management is something called turnkey projects where people cannot duplicate. Okay, so now coming back to here, the coherent strategy of Husky is very clear. From started as best cost, they go into the best performance, and then now they provide total solution. Total solution. So this is where you need to use this communication fit, another very clear cut model of first you embrace the awareness, then you ensure alignment of all the people, engage them into action, encourage adoption, and enable assurance. If you look at this is during initiating the project, planning the project, executing the project, and this too is This is monitor and control, and this two is closing the project. So now this is what we said. The first case study I presented is all about how to enhance Okuma's execution capability. So therefore, they invest a lot of money on training. The second company, Husky, is actually how to change the culture to become a homogeneous culture. Is really talking about transition management. So transition management is a project itself. So they say that, okay, we have to first explain to the people why we need to change. Because if you are a truly global company, you cannot say that you are from Thailand, I'm from Singapore, you are from Malaysia, he's from England. We have a problem. Those days was like that. Because you form gangs. When I go to Canada, all the ASEAN one gang, all the European one gang, all the American one gang, so what happened? We become gangsters. So the boss said, no, you have to put one, even my secretary must come from Canada. You have to adapt yourself to the Canadian culture. And he asked the lady also from Canada, you speak Mandarin. You study in Singapore, 6 months, you must be able to speak simple Mandarin. Otherwise, you're fired. So they are serious, right? So why we need to change? Why change now? Because we want to be truly global company. Who else needs to be involved? Of course, the top management must be involved. What will it look like when we are done? So therefore, year by year, we become better teamwork. Not just a team, but never work. Oh. Everybody said, it's you, no? It's your turn, no? It's your turn, no? And as we said, if it's not done, who is responsible, but not yet done, how it will be institutionalized, which means that there's the carrot and the stick, not state, the stick. And in project management, same like change management, when things has been changed, how will it be measured? When you talk about culture, it's through behavioral change. That means, in other words, last time I see somebody, I will not say, good morning, how are you? But now people start to say, hey, weekends, I heard you don't feel too good, or if you need somebody help, just give me a shout. You see the change in the ambience, in the atmosphere, so people become caring. Oh. And next is how to make it last. Oh. So, of course, as the lady has said, money is everything, which I totally agree. Oh. So we are almost there. Oh. I know we all have to go for a good dinner. Oh. Okay. So my method is always, I am a system thinker. So therefore, I use processes. So 6 A's, very easy to remember. Whatever we do, create awareness. Why we need to change. Then alignment. Those want to change, those don't want to change them. And then action. Action is not about you and me. Action, let's do it together. Huh? And next is don't assume everybody buy in. Some people may say after that, yeah, this project is okay, but next project I don't do be involved anymore. And how do you assure management? As I mentioned, management only look at 2 equations. One is make more money, if not save more money. No? Once you achieve that, then it's okay. So therefore, we have to anticipate change is a painful process. How many of us agree or disagree if you are married? The first thing you do after the honeymoon is to change your behavior because your wife tells you that. No? What happened? You don't change. Wow, the record broken already. Yeah, so I have my friend here, his weakness. I said, my handphone, take picture of me because I just flew back from Indonesia. My Indonesian wife will ask, hey, how come suddenly you must fly to Singapore? And you said you are going a presentation. Last time, difficult. Must wait for 1 or 2 days. Develop the photograph, send back. Now no need instant. Take pictures, send by apps. She receive already, some more free. So cannot find excuse anymore. Yeah, so because you know what in project management called monitor and control. This is very good, monitor control. Okay. Yes, it's also PMP, unfortunately. How to monitor control. Okay. So change in an organization is the same. This is a comfort zone. After change, go back to normal. Cannot, so you must see that in actual fact, everybody hold hands together and move together and change together. Okay, so now I go into an Indonesian company called Husky. Can I drink a little bit of water? Because, yeah, it looks like. Okay, so Husky is a company. 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 Husky is a comp So this is the strategic project management for overcoming the crisis. As I said, this company owned the bank $14 billion in 1999, and they are able to turn it around by year 2004. And thanks to IPS, which helped them to put up a project management office, them into program management office, and now they have the office of strategy management. Don't ask me how much I charge them, because otherwise you undercut me, I die. Okay, so this company is only one part of the whole group. The whole group is $16 billion company. This is for palm oil, so they are the number 2 in the world, largest producer of palm oil. And 2 years ago, 2.71 billion. In Singapore, it's known as Golden Agri Resources. If you buy the stock and share, you know they are within the top 10. Okay, so this is the spiraling curve. So they know exactly what they are good at in the upstream, which is resource-based. They have the plantation 6 times the size of Singapore, which is very big, and then capability. Over here, they have to collaborate or joint venture with other companies because they don't have the technology. And in this company in particular, we talk about action learning. So what is action learning? Action learning is actually to ask what we need to learn, why we need to learn, how to implement what we learn, and then where it goes right or wrong. And now this is actually happened. What happened? This is Michael Mowbray, the former CEO of IPS, or now called 28 Strategy, I think so. You must start from the top management. So the president director sit in one day and he says, okay, I think this is a good initiative that I've proposed. So next is to train the next 50 senior executives. And now we cascade down to 200 project managers, all must get PMPs. And then also 25 vice presidents has to go through program management, because program management is benefit management. And finally, cascade down the lowest level, 500 project leaders, 200 coordinators, and 10 facilitators. So this is different workshops that is being conducted. And now this is the CEO, Pak Frankie himself. He says, at first, I don't understand, but now I change. I think it is good. The group COO says, well, I think we must have project meeting twice a month, and we focus on the risk. And this person, now he became the president director. Recently he was promoted. This one passed away, unfortunately, because always remember, eat too much palm oil, you get heart attack and you die. Don't eat too much palm oil. And yeah, he's a joker. If he come here, the presentation will be very lively, and he says he's very confused. But now he's better. He will support. So what has project management done? So project management combined with what we call action learning. Action learning is the formula that you have seen, where, as what Kim Clark says, able to innovate leaders, able to improve performance, and also able to integrate the teams. So this is actually the result. If there's no result, don't talk. Because the boss said, hey, Casey, we spend $4 million a year, and you don't even produce any result. But if you show this to the boss and say, can I have 10% commission? The boss said, I think, never mind. We increase the salary 2 times. Because if $10,000 increase 2 times, 20,000 is nothing. If this one you get 10%, I think I don't need to work anymore. Yeah, so, but this must be a track record. So we convert into supply chain project management. So every stages we save money. Save money. That's how we assure the bank we can return you the money. Now, so all organizations undergo this, what we call organizational changes in the structure. So the company started as technopreneur, very small. People know one another into project leadership, because why? Many projects has to carry out and get it done, but didn't do properly. But when you are able to sort this one out, then that goes into the next stage, which is called performance culture. This is where I implemented the Office of Strategy Management in 2006 before I returned to Singapore. Okay. So this is what we try to do to train the people. Start from SMD, means Senior Management Development Program. I thought I put it here. AMD is Advanced Management Development Program. EMD is Executive Management Development Program. And these are the type of projects we are doing, the supply chain management projects, the strategic project management, and also if you want to get big bonuses, you have to enter to become part of the Olympic team. So these are the whole series of things we do to pay the money to the bank. And the outcome is that, yes, if you look at the score, the sponsor is happy. The program manager, we don't call program manager because then we have PM again. We call project integration manager or program integration manager, just to differentiate. The project manager and the project leader all are happy. So also we put into the balance scorecard KPIs so that everybody will support the project. So these are the different percentages in the KPI with the help of McKinsey as usual, because if you say nobody listen, McKinsey said you pay big money to them, they listen because the boss said you have to recover back the money. So this is what we say from culture, cascade down to vision, mission, strategy, and core competence. I'm going to go fast. And this is the band scorecard because it's almost time. So I'm dead on time also. What we learned today is that your take-home value, this is the framework for strategic project management. Change management process is the 6 A's. And now we must really focus on developing human capital in Singapore. That means if you are good as like IT people are technopreneur, but you must become not only technologist, but also an entrepreneur. So technopreneurship, and you have to use the project in a way that it becomes action learning. Action learning means that day by day, I improve my competence. And finally, your team leadership. And to close this presentation, the formal organization structure doesn't work. We have to be like Steve Jobs. You spend only 40% of your time running the company, the 60% you spend in running projects. And that's what I convinced by Frankie. Don't just focus on running the company because it's already formalized, it's already running well. Let your CEOs run it because he's the owner. Put your time here. Because every time you earn money, you go and borrow more money. Or you put it into your stock and share market. And the COO, just now you saw it, he will be able to support. So this is the same concept as what Steve Jobs said. Let Tim Cook run it. I manage my projects well. Okay? And this is the part I say that from this diagram, which I showed you originally, we convert into a simplified diagram called a Venn diagram, VENN. So strategic project management means that at the strategic level, we have to integrate from the top to the bottom. Business, we have to innovate. That's what Steve Jobs said. Anything cannot be measured faster, better, or smarter, don't do. Because then you cannot know what's the outcome. So innovation must be able to measure. Operations, this is what project management say, always on schedule, on cost, on scope. And then the Office of Strategy Management is to improve the execution capability. So with that, I think I have covered all the 3 areas: leadership, this is our new triangle, strategy and business management, and also technical and project management. So that's all for me. Enjoy your dinner, because I think the coach is waiting, and I meet you there if you have any question. Okay, that's all.
Any questions?
Question, yeah. Any question I've forgotten to ask?
If not, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite co-chair of the Regional Symposium, Ms. Rupali, on stage to give a token of appreciation. So, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Dr. K.C. Chan.
Thank you. We must take photograph with my camera also. Make my wife jealous. Hold the plug together. Tomorrow come out Straits Times or not? Business Times will do. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, hope to see you again somewhere. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Chan.
Thank you.